Imatinib is not the only drug that's being explored in this space, and one other drug that has been receiving favorable review as well by the US FDA is tepotinib. Tepotinib is a similar drug also directed against MET that has been evaluated in previously treated patients with MET exon 14 skipping mutation. Tepotinib also has received breakthrough designation by the US FDA. And I think that it clearly would be a great advance for patients should either of these drugs be approved for patients with MET exon 14 skipping. I think that particularly for patients who have received prior therapy for non-small cell lung cancer, I recognize we have sort of a lack of comparative data compared to docetaxel-based therapy, which I would say is the standard therapy that would be for previously treated patients in this setting. And in the absence of comparative data, I still would argue that most of us would, based on the data that we've seen for both efficacy and tolerability for both capmatinib and tepotinib, prefer a MET inhibitor in this setting for this population of patients as opposed to docetaxel-based therapy. So I would say that the approval of MET inhibitors for patients with MET exon 14 skipping is not paradigm shifting in that we now have several drugs that are already approved for targeted populations in the setting of advanced non-small cell lung cancer. What I would say instead is that it is a continuation of the advances that we have seen in molecular medicine, that it in many respects is the fruits of this long labor of trying to subdivide what traditionally is sort of a grab bag of different diagnoses. I mean, on some level, just the name non-small cell lung cancer indicates that you're not indicating what the disease is, you're just simply indicating what it's not, which is it's in the lung and it's not small cell lung cancer. This approval for MET exon 14 skipping would be a continuation of this promise that if you figure out what is driving the tumor and look hard, develop good drugs that are effective against those subsets, that you will be able to move the disease forward. I think that that's something that we have seen, and I think one thing that's particularly exciting about this particular target is that it is not particularly rare. NTRK, which does have approval in a whole host of histologies, including lung cancer, is very exciting. But it doesn't affect a tremendous number of patients, and in lung cancer specifically, although it does if you look across histologies. Some of the other targets that are being looked at also are quite rare, but that is not true for MET exon 14 skipping. It really, I think, does have a presence in 3 to 4% of non-small cell lung cancer, which again, when one looks at the number of patients who have non-small cell lung cancer, is a really significant number of people.